I, 22 female, recently gave birth to a baby girl. My husband, 27, and I are both huge geeks. We basically met at a cosplay convention. I was cosplaying as my favourite female character in a popular anime, and she also turned out to be my future husband's favourite character. So we decided to honour her and the reason we met by naming our daughter after her. Please note that in Western culture her name is a masculine one and has a slightly different spelling, so we chose to keep the original spelling. We also chose to keep the name a secret until she was born. Important detail, my sister-in-law also has a daughter, Kaylee. It's not an actual name, but you get the spirit. I think that it's hilarious and dumb to give your kid a name with spelling like that, but I've never made any comments about it as it's her business after all, and my kid's name is rare and unusually spelled as well. As I delivered my daughter and we were out of the hospital, we finally disclosed her name. Most of our relatives were okay with her name, some even said it was beautiful. However, my sister-in-law lost it. She said it's a stupid name and deciding to name a kid after a fictional villain is idiotic. She also threw in some awful words, including the worst swear word aimed at my daughter and me. I'm Asian American. It was expected as she often made snarky comments about our hobbies and interests. However, this time I lost it and yelled at her, saying that it's our decision to name our kid and that it was better than Kaylee. She started crying, saying that I was unreasonably rude, and stormed off. My husband and mother-in-law took my side and said that I was right and that my sister-in-law overstepped the boundary. However, my sister-in-law continues harassing me, demanding an apology, and even managed to turn some of our mutual friends against me. So, am I the idiot? Edit, my baby's name is Conan, after Conan from Naruto. You named a baby girl Conan? Oh my. Oh my. For your daughter's sake, I hope everyone in your area knows anime and doesn't immediately jump to Conan the Barbarian instead. I was thinking of Conan the Barbarian too. I wish parents would think of their kids before trying to do something unique and sentimental for their selfish reasons. A kid isn't a dog or a cat. They're a human who has to deal with the repercussions of their name. Second names exist for this reason. First name, canonical name. Second name, every stupid sentimental crap you wanted to name the kid, but your brain worked and you didn't. Seriously, why don't people stick to weird middle names? Give the kid a chance. I also think of the Barbarian, but I'm 35. I don't think the little kids in play school with Opie's daughter will be as well versed in 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movies as we are. I don't really like the name, to be honest, especially with the K spelling, but I'm not sure the repercussions are any more dire than sometimes being mistaken for a boy. Congrats, you're both idiots. Conan and Kaylee, seriously? Everyone's the idiot here. The sister-in-law was out of line and there's zero excuse to be throwing slurs around, but Opie is still an idiot for doing this to a child. For one thing, she'll be dealing with extra bullying on that name from kindergarten through high school. There's always going to be someone who brings up Conan the Barbarian. That's the name she will have to put on resumes and job applications. Is it fair? No, but it's the way it is. Children are not inanimate objects that you can stick an enamel pin on so people know your fandoms. Yes, Conan is a legitimate name in Japanese culture, but you specifically named her that for a Naruto villain. You made her life so much more difficult than it needed to be for a nerd reference. She's a human being, not a prop to strengthen your nerd cred. Poor kid. I wish people would realize that the kid is the one who has to live with the name they're given. My son has been married to his wife for 2 years at this point. We get along as well as water and oil. I keep my distance because I don't like dealing with her. She's a horribly picky eater. I don't know why, but truly I don't care because she's a pain at restaurants. We try to go anywhere and we have to change places multiple times so she can have something to eat. She makes the servers jump through hoops so she will have something she likes, and if anything is wrong, she will complain about it or pout in the corner. Example, she got a quesadilla, removed everything on it, and when it came out she sent it back because there was sour cream on the side. It wasn't touching anything, and she made a huge deal about her food being wrong. She doesn't have allergies either. What made me dislike her is that she complained about the food at a funeral. They had a sandwich spread but went on about it's gross multiple times. So I had a dinner yesterday and I invited everyone but my son's wife. My son wasn't invited either, but he was on a business trip. My other daughter-in-law posted it online and I got a call from daughter-in-law. She was angry I didn't invite her and asked why. I told her it was because she was an embarrassment at dinners and I wouldn't be inviting her to dinners. She called me a jerk and hung up. Now my son is on my butt and I'm wondering if I should apologize or not. Edit, I'm gonna say it. It doesn't matter if she has an eating disorder or is on the spectrum. Both those groups know how to act at a funeral or restaurant. It may be harder, but they can. Not the idiot. She openly complained about the sandwich spread at a funeral. That's all you have to point out to her, to your son, and to anyone else who challenges you on this. She behaves at mealtime like a decent human being, or you, for one, will not invite her to dinner. Geez, I'm a picky eater, but if a restaurant or event doesn't have a single entree or salad or dessert that I like, then I keep my mouth shut, have a soda or drink and eat at home. The problem isn't the food, it's the behavior. I'm with you. She can't even shut up about the food at a funeral. Talk about disrespectful. This isn't about her being picky, this is about her behavior. She is disrespectful, childish, impossible to please, and makes everyone else suffer. I've met elementary school kids with better manners. She is controlling the whole thing and she knows it, making you switch places to eat and running the servers ragged. She has to be the center of attention, and I wouldn't tolerate her shenanigans. Leave her out of more things and I bet she calls her jets. Don't be afraid to tell her to her face why. Be exact. Tell her how you feel, not what she wants to hear. Stop tiptoeing around this chick. I, 23 female, have been married to my husband, 27, for about 3 years. Our first child is a few months old. I've known my in-laws for over 5 years. We used to have an amazing relationship until 6 months after our wedding when we had our first miscarriage. We knew we were going to miscarry before we told them we were pregnant. Since they asked about grandchildren every time we saw them, my husband told them in private that I was pregnant and having a miscarriage and asked them not to mention anything about it. I was having a horrible time with it. We went to their house the next day and they wouldn't stop talking about it. This never stopped. Fast forward to a year and a half later, we were pregnant for the third time, first baby. We told my in-laws at 6 weeks. I wanted to wait, but my husband didn't. We asked them not to tell anyone, but they did anyway, and wouldn't stop after explicitly being asked multiple times not to. They keep overstepping throughout the pregnancy. They wanted to be there when the baby was born. I said no, and my husband and I fought about it. After the baby was born, we told them not to kiss the baby. The baby is 2 weeks old. Father-in-law kisses baby. We tell him not to kiss the baby, and he says it's not a big deal. 4 days later, we see them again. Father-in-law kisses the baby on the face and I cause a scene, take the baby and leave their house. My in-laws and husband say I overreacted and disrespected them. We didn't go back for 2 months. Now, when the baby is about 3 months old, I agree to take the baby back for a visit. Father-in-law holds the baby until she needs to eat. The baby is exclusively breastfed. As I'm feeding her, father-in-law says, "No more booby once she starts teething." I feel it isn't his place to tell me how or what to feed my baby. We're not close, and talking about anything personal makes me uncomfortable, so him talking about my breasts at all is uncomfortable for me, but I don't say anything. He then tells me that I need to start giving the baby rice cereal. I tell him I'm not doing that, and I explain why, and he tells me that her doctor will put her on it soon, completely ignoring what I said. Mother-in-law then wants to hold the baby. Baby is very upset. I let her try to comfort the baby, but it isn't working. I go to stand next to my husband. Mother-in-law thinks I'm telling him to take the baby away, so she bitterly says, "You don't need to talk to him." This upsets me as I didn't say anything to him, but also I can say whatever I want to my husband. But again, I say nothing to her. After a few minutes, my husband takes the baby from mother-in-law and gives her to me. Father-in-law argues about this because mother-in-law knows how to hold a baby. I console the baby and get her to sleep. She likes to be rocked to sleep standing up. I give her back to mother-in-law and she immediately sits down and wakes the baby up. We didn't stay much longer after that. It was clear the visit didn't go well. The next day, mother-in-law sends a text saying she wants to see us again soon. It's clear she's only sending this text because she knows it didn't go well. I sent a message saying it's clear yesterday didn't go well and in-laws have some boundary issues they need to work on. I also say I know their intentions are good, but I need the constant comments and overstepping to stop. I try to phrase this message as politely as possible. I even sent it to my husband for his okay before I sent it. She replies asking what they need to work on, and I tell her the issues I had from the previous day. She replied saying we should be open with each other moving forward to avoid any issues, and I believe this response was genuine. However, a few hours later, my father-in-law calls my husband when he knows he isn't home to tell him that I am no longer welcome at their house. My husband thinks everything is my fault and wants to take the baby to their house without me for the holidays. I said no. He said he's taking her anyway. I don't trust them to respect boundaries when I'm not there, and he can't stand up to them. I don't think not giving them free rein over my newborn is unreasonable for a newly postpartum first-time mom. Am I overreacting in everything? Not the idiot. The biggest issue I see is your husband's complete lack of respect and support, and there's no way I would trust them to respect boundaries with you not there. They don't even seem to do so when you are present. Them banning you from their house seems like a manipulative tactic to keep you away so they're free to do as they please in regards to your baby, and I would be enraged if my husband saw no issue with it. Your husband needs to grow a spine. He should be completely ashamed of himself. It's his job to support his wife and protect and raise his child. His idea is also ridiculous. He's showing he values his parents more than you instead of standing up to them so they stop being ridiculous. Why does he think it's acceptable that your child's first Christmas should be without one of her parents? Your husband needs to get his head out of his butt and get on the same page with you. This is your daughter, not his parents' do-over baby. That fact needs to be respected and prioritized. For me, the biggest red flag here is your husband telling you, a brand new first-time mother, that he's taking your breastfed infant to a holiday celebration at your in-laws without you, whether you like it or not. That's one screaming 5-alarm warning fire and a really disturbing and threatening thing for a husband to tell his wife and the brand new mother of his child. That is not okay. You don't threaten to forcefully separate your wife from your newborn baby for any reason that doesn't involve an immediate threat to your baby's well-being, and certainly not to placate your parents after they just barred your wife from their home. How many more red flags do you need? Your husband is incredibly unsupportive and is taking mommy and daddy's side. You'll never win. I'd reconsider this marriage. I, female 46, have one child, Amy, not real name, who is 20 and lives in Boston. I live in Arizona. She's recently gone through a bad breakup, and while I'm relieved she's not with him, Amy is not handling the breakup well. For some context, since she was young, she lacked resilience and needed a lot of guidance to get through things. As her mom, I'm happy to do this and believe it's my job. My husband, Amy's dad, supports this and would fly to see her instead of me, but we agreed it would be better if I went. The issue is, it's my friend's 40th birthday. She has 2 younger children and was really excited to go out. Other people are attending. I told her why I couldn't attend, and she responded by saying it was ridiculous and I needed to cut the cord, in addition to pointing out other times my husband and I had cancelled to see or tend to Amy. While I think it's justified to cancel plans for my daughter, am I the idiot for cancelling them for this reason? I'm going to say no idiots here. I can't really say you're an idiot for supporting your daughter this time, but I'm very curious about whether the other times you cancelled plans with your friend were also somewhat justified or not. To be honest, I can see why your friend's patience is starting to wear thin. Continuing to drop everything to go see her is not going to help your daughter's lack of resilience at all. If anything, you might be crippling or enabling her. As somebody who's been in the friend's position, I get the friend's response. I had a friend of almost 20 years. I was always making plans and she'd end up cancelling. I decided to quit being the one who reached out first. The friendship fizzled and we don't talk anymore. OP is messing herself over. It's not easy to make new close friends later in life. This is a milestone birthday for your friend. OP already committed to joining her to celebrate, and there's no emergency here. OP can fly to see her daughter the day after the birthday outing and video call her daughter to commiserate in the meantime. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old my child gets. I would drop everything if they needed me. I get that you shouldn't enable your child, and I would never want to do that, but this situation calls for it. She's 20, so she's still immature, but this was also probably a big love. The first heartbreak is the absolute worst. OP wants to be there for her daughter who's having a rough time. The girl is 20. There are lots of breakups in her future. It sounds like you need to go to her more than she needs you to come. Frequent phone calls or have her come home if she can for a few days. If at 20 she's struggling worse than the average 20-year-old with a breakup, she needs an appointment with a professional. LOL. My daughter has resilience issues. Proceeds to fly to Boston whenever she stubs a toe. Your friend has a point. You are the idiot. I think by running to her side the moment things get tough, you're ultimately doing your daughter a disservice. You can be supportive in many ways while always teaching your daughter independence and resilience. My wife and I have 3 children, and this situation involves our 2 oldest. Back when they were young, we had crazy work schedules. On the other hand, her brother has a job and position where he can come and go as he pleases, so we help with our children. The 3 of us took turns taking the kids to school and picking them up. The kids sometimes stayed with him for a day or 2. When they grew older, our work schedules stabilized, so we didn't rely on him as much. However, the kids are incredibly attached to their uncle to the point it seems like I'm being replaced. Once, when our daughter ran out of panty liners, she called her uncle to ask him to pick her up some. My wife was at work, but I was working in the yard and she didn't think to ask me. A year ago, our son was questioning his orientation, and instead of coming to his mother or me, he went to talk to his uncle. And then my brother-in-law told my wife about their conversation. I was the last to know about it. On our daughter's last birthday, she was most excited about his gift because he got her the exact model and colour tennis racket she wanted. She didn't take a second look at my present. The last straw happened earlier today when our son was sick at school. Instead of calling me or his mother, he called his uncle. Brother-in-law texted us about the situation and asked my wife to call the school so that he could pick up our son. I was home and no one asked me to do it. I was furious when brother-in-law dropped our son off. I confronted him about overstepping our family's boundaries and we argued. I told him to leave our house and leave our children alone. My wife just got home from work and we argued. She doesn't like how I talk to her brother, but I don't like how I'm being left out of my children's life. She said we're lucky to have him help us, but I don't want his help anymore. Am I wrong to want to be in my children's life? You are the idiot. If your children don't feel they can confide in you or depend on you, that is not your brother-in-law's fault. It's not your children's fault. It's not your wife's fault. You must look at what you're doing to be involved in their lives. Being present is not the end of the story when it comes to kids. They say it takes a village to raise a child. He is part of their village. Your story reads like you're more concerned about your feelings of jealousy than you are about anybody's well-being. This is all about your feelings of inadequacy, so maybe work on becoming adequate instead. He doesn't want to build relationships. He wants them to confide in him when they don't seem to trust him. His attitude and whining here are excellent examples of why they may not like him. He expects that by creating them, they should only turn to him while he doesn't need to put in any effort. The uncle put in the effort to build relationships for several years, and OP expects it to be automatic for him. Yeah, OP is a major idiot, so instead of becoming a proper father to his kids, he will take away their only true father figure, making them angry and pushing them even further away from you, OP. And you really think getting rid of brother-in-law will automatically make them close to you? No, you've actually got to be a good dad yourself, not just get rid of their uncle. And it's incredibly selfish. You're going to make them suffer because of your ego. Jesus, you are the idiot massively.